Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillah. Let's start inshallah ta'ala. So we've been doing Surah-Hujuraat, and we are at this ayat which we have covered bits of, yes, couple parts, important topics related to this particular ayat are to be covered. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, a'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu jitanibu kathiran min adh-dhann, inna ba'da adh-dhanni ithm, wa la tajassasu, wa la yaghtab ba'dukum ba'da, ayuhibbu ahadukum an ya'kula lahma akhihi maytan fakarihtumuh, wattaqullah. Inna Allah tawwabur rahim. So, O you who believe, refrain from having suspicion about others, because some suspicions are sins. And do not be curious, and do not be those who find faults in others, and do not backbite of one another. Does one of you like that he eats the flesh of his brother who is dead brother? You would hate it. So fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Surely Allah is most merciful, most relenting. So as we have been through this quite a few times, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is now giving us the regulation and rules whereby we can have a better society. What spoils the interaction between people, what spoils the society, what spoils the relationship are these bad and negative attitudes. Positive attitudes have already been mentioned. The negative things which cause rifts and confusion and hatred, animosity among the fabric of the society include these. So this particular ayah covers these things. Number one, to having bad opinions, suspicions and bad opinions. We covered that in detail last time. Now today we'll talk about this second thing, which is tajassus. Tajassus is to do spying, prying, be nosy, trying to find out what's happening. Tajassus. And riba will be the third one we'll cover inshallah next time. So tajassus is trying to pry on others, trying to find faults secretly. There's a word tajassus and a word tahassus, and they both have similar meaning, and some scholars have made some distinction between the two. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam made it very clear that this is not permissible. Do not spy on one another. Do not look at others' faults. We are not supposed to do that. Two words, tajassus. Some scholars would say, Imam Akhfash, for example, he said the subtle difference. Tajassus is when you look at the affairs of people which they have kept hidden. So you're not actively looking for something, rather the thing that they have kept hidden from you, you just actively go out and try to find out. And tahassus, on the other hand, is more general, which you just go and try to find out. Actively look for something, but not hidden, something which is open. Both are considered not worthy of being involved in, unless there's a reason, and we'll cover that inshallah ta'ala. Imam Nawawi rahmatullah alayhi said, some of the scholars said that tahassus with ha, snooping, means listening to others people's conversation, and tajassus and looking at someone else's faults. So looking for someone's fault is tajassus, looking for someone conversation, what they're talking about is tahassus. That's one way of looking at that, but the scholars have done it in different ways. Some suggested it's looking at them in their secret things. But anyway, some use it synonymously, similar meaning, but it doesn't matter. Both are generally not done things, unless there is a good reason, and we'll come to that. So what about the jasus? You heard about the word jasus. Is someone who's a spy, yeah, who secretly looks at other people's faults and evils. Namus is someone who does the same thing in a positive way. Look at someone's positive attributes and attitudes for a good reason. Even for bad thing, if they found out, there is a good reason and intention behind it. And that could be to help them come out of this bad situation, support them, not looking for their faults, not to go and tell others about this, not to backbite, not to have ill feeling towards them, not to feel good about yourself and bad about them. None of that. Rather, it's for a good reason, the namus. Jasus, on the other hand, has a negative idea. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said in this hadith, which Imam Qurtubi brought in his tafsir, do not speak ill of Muslims behind their backs and do not search out their faults. For he who searches out their faults will have his faults searched out by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and he whose faults are searched out by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah will expose him, even though he is sitting and hiding inside his own quarters, in his own house. He is within his own house. Allah would expose him to the world. He can't be keeping himself hidden from others. Means if you go out looking for others' fault, Allah would make you an object of ridicule by people by exposing you in the public. So never do that. It's a big enough punishment for people who do that. Al-Mawlana Ashraf Ali Thanvi Sahib rahmatullah alayhi said, if there is an apprehension that some member of the Muslim community may be harmed by someone else's mischief, some other people who do all the funny thing, and then it may be permitted for others to spy, to protect someone's life, someone's wealth, someone's honor. There is a possibility. That's one exception where it is okay. But without this danger, we shouldn't be involved in any of that. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his companion Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu, actually, he said that someone came to Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, his student, saying, Zayd ibn Wahab, that a student came to him, someone came to him, and he said, this man was found with wine dripping from his beard. Ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu, he said, verily we have been prohibited from spying. Why were you looking at his beard and trying to find what that may be? Could be water, could be something else. Don't go and find out faults in people. But if he shows it to be publicly, then we would hold him accountable. What he said was that if he drank that alcohol on his own inside the house and didn't tell us, that's his problem. We would never go out and search for it. But if he did that and comes out of his house and be in public, then we apply the punishment. Sharon, whatever is the flogging, 40 flogs is the punishment for someone who drinks publicly in Islamic State. So, but if you keep it to yourself, that's your problem. Abdurrahman ibn Auf, he said that we would patrol during the time of Sayyidina Umar, and so they went past a house where there were some loud noise they heard, and he asked Abdurrahman ibn Auf, another companion from Ashra Mubashir, he said, do you know whose house is this? He said, I don't. Sayyidina Umar said, this is a person, his name is Rabi'a ibn Umayyah ibn Khalaf. Umayyah ibn Khalaf was the arch enemy of Rasulullah. This is his son. And they are inside drinking right now. What do you think we should do? He was testing and asking his fellow companion, his junior. Sometimes teachers do that. He made it very clear. He said, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, we do not need to go and find out faults. We do not need to inquire about that. We shouldn't be entering the house. Let them do what they're doing inside. We're not bothered about that. Means we shouldn't be secretly looking at people's faults. That's their problem. If they come out, then we sort them out. That's a different matter. Okay. Sayyidina Muawiyah radiallahu anhu reported that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, verily, if you seek out the faults of people, you will corrupt them and nearly corrupt them. Means either you corrupt them completely or you nearly corrupt them. They're about to get corrupted. Means there'll be two types of people. So when you go and someone is committing a sin privately, you go and barge in their room and you saw them doing something haram. There are two things happening. Either the person would try to cover himself up by lying, coming up with lame excuses, fake explanation, wrong explanation, and made you either Do I believe him or do I believe what I saw? Maybe he's right, maybe he's not. So giving you a tough time, you put yourself in a difficult situation and you push him to say something wrong. Or he would say, now that I've been exposed of doing it, let me just do it. Why should I hide it anymore? Now that you know it, carry on. The person would then carry on that sin. So did it help anyone? It didn't. It corrupted the person even more. If now I'm known of doing that haram thing, I would carry on. So that's why it's not important. So what are the reasons why people do that? Mostly it's an ill feeling towards someone. I know, I doubt. I've got suspicion about him. I've got jealousy of him. He's been seen as a nice person in the community. Everyone praises him. Let me make sure that people start hating him by finding some fault. How could he be that good? He can't be. He must be. There must be something wrong. Let me find out. This is more known for women in olden days, but even men do the same. At your workplace, I am in a better position with regards to my next promotion. Let me push others down by finding faults in their work. Look at that actively. Oh, I don't know, but he did it. I just wanted you to, oh, my boss, check it. I didn't know. I just bumped into this. You're spending your time searching and looking for all his work, so you can complain. Or someone told you from juniors, no, don't worry, leave it. I'll sort it out. Make it. You made it your problem and went out of your way to tell your senior in order to get him out, and more chances of you to then be successful in that next promotion. All jealousy, hatred, animosity, tail carrying, like talking about someone here and there, flattering the boss. I found this person who is doing this wrong thing. I got this, and the boss would be happy with me, and then he would just give me something extra. And this is hypocrisy, because you're supposed to be covering people's fault as a believer. The hypocrites, they expose. You're supposed to be a brother to that person, but you're behaving like enemy. This is a sign of hypocrisy. So you yourself want that fame and name. If I do it, if I've done this particular research, media does that a lot with fame and wealth. They get their one-liner, headliner. They would make money. They would get advertisements. They would get many people watching their clips, their TikTok clips, their YouTube clips. To make it, they put something to go, yes, and find out certain special thing. Keep digging here, and there's something unusual, something completely. So actively looking for some other's fault. If you have that, then this gossip would go out in the media. A lot of name, a lot of fame, a lot of wealth. That's what people do. And sometimes it's a revenge. The teacher told me off, my father told me off, or someone, my boss told me off because of him. He did good. Let me find out something negative in him so that he's now been told off as I was done to. So people just go and sometimes get their revenge, feel happy, good. So he was saying he was very good. See, he's not that good. Have to find something wrong in him, and everyone has wrongs. So once you do that, so what it has done, it made you have bad feeling about someone, because everyone would have some faults. That is why generally, even if you have the best of the best master of the subject, father or mother, you do not take them as your teacher. Generally, they can teach you to a level, but not. Mufti Taqi Usmani Sahab and Mufti Rafi Usmani Sahab, when they both have completed their Mufti level course, so they were looking for a spiritual master to guide them. So their father, Mufti Shafi Sahab, he was the top level master, and he got many students. So they said, the children said, oh father, we would like to take bay'ah. We want to be your disciple as well as your spiritual students. So please train us spiritually as well. So father said, no, it's not good. If you did it with the father, there'll be many things that you would not be happy with. You may get you may find something, and I might, because we know each other very well. You should go and take advice and bay'ah from this Sheikh, Dr. Abdul Hayy Al-Arifi. This is what they did. They learned and got trained through that. Because many a time, when you just are so close to someone, you start seeing faults. Everyone has faults. Father would have faults. You cannot find someone who is free from. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the only exception to this, whose private life, whose bedroom life, whose inside life, even his thinking, have all been put on the table that we can see and read. So you will find records, hadith, mentions of what he was in the house, how he was in the toilet, how he was in the intimacy with his wives, everything. And that's the only person who could do that, because he's so perfect. Obviously, all the other prophets are like that. But none of the other than prophets are able to open themselves up that much to others. So that is why when you go and try to figure out how the person is, start looking into his life, you always find faults. And that fault is going to make you have bad opinion about him. And this is completely silly. Why you felt that he was an angel? Your father, my son. Sometimes we have oh, my son would never do that. Don't say that. Don't ever feel that way. Not at all, because you're having a big claim about that. And they all have faults. We all have faults. So we keep that distance. We keep that privacy. When you've done that, obviously, you're exposing them. This is a sign of hypocrites. And then you start talking about that, backbiting would ensue. You would start breaking the ties of relationship. Families would start, because you were telling him his secret, they would start hating each other. So family ties break up. And then you would feel good about yourself. I saw your fault when I, sneaked into your room and you were committing something haram. So I know, see, now I know he's bad. I'm good. I'm automatically good. I'm not doing it at that point, but I do 20 other sins which I'm completely oblivious to. Shaitan is not going to make me feel and think about those sins. He's going to make me good about, see, I never did that. He did, and he's so bad. So you start feeling arrogant automatically. So that's why we shouldn't be. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in this hadith told us the punishment. Whoever claims to have seen a dream which he did not see will be ordered to make a knot between two barley grains, which he will not be able to do. Obviously, that's something is a punishment for lying about that dream. But if somebody listens to the talk of some people who do not like him to listen to, and they run away from him, they say, don't listen to that, don't. But you keep listening. They said, go out, we're having a private chat, and you keep hearing it, trying to find out. For some, small recording device there, microphone there, and think that I've done very clever something. This is what's going to happen. Then molten lead will be poured into his ears on the day of judgment. So you're killing yourself. The hadith in Sahih al-Bukhari. This is what's going to happen. So to try on someone thinking that I'm only just doing for fun or for some good reason, not at all. Now, what about someone who's done that? A spy. What is the punishment for that? So the spy, there are people who do that job for governments. What is the punishment for that? Generally, it is considered haram. You shouldn't be doing that job. So there's difference of opinion. So what they say, Imam Abu Hanifa, Imam Shafi, and Imam Ahmad say that the person who has done that has committed sin, but we shouldn't kill him. Although he's done the big betrayal, but he's not to be killed as spy. Imam Malik, on the other hand, Imam Qayyim al-Jawzi, they say he should be killed. Someone who is spying on other Muslims, they're not supposed to be living in the world because they've done a heinous crime. So I just wanted to mention it as a gravity, just to show the gravity of this, that the debate is not that this is haram. Debate is, are they supposed to be forgiven or not? So don't. And the evidence they have is from the Sunnah of Rasulullah. There's a very beautiful incident that took place. Beautiful in the sense that we learn a lot from that. Hatib ibn Abi Balta'a, radiallahu ta'ala, one of the companions of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. What happened when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, I just go very briefly on that. When Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had a pact with the disbelievers, Hudaybiyah, at the time of Hudaybiyah, 6th year after Hijrah. So the pact was that we would not fight again for 10 years. Okay, they attacked first time, second time, third time, the battle of Badr, and then in the second Hijri after migration. Third year it was Uhud, and the fifth year it was the trench. So after that, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had this pact the next year with the people of Quraysh. So there was a truce for the next 10 years, no fight. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam wanted that for any cost. So they did it. So it was a year, they were okay. The next year, in 8th year after Hijrah, there were two tribes, they had fight among themselves. One of them had pact with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they were allied with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and other had alliance with Quraysh. The people who had, the tribe that had alliance with Quraysh, they oppressed this tribe and betrayed them and started killing them. So they came to Makkah, the Quraysh people, asked them for help. So Makkans went out of their way, supported them, and started attacking with them to the allies of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And that was the betrayal. That was the part of the contract, that you would never ever fight against us and whoever is our allies. And they said, likewise, you wouldn't. Yes, that's fine. And they did that, attack the allies of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. At that point, when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam found out one of the men who survived that attack, he came straight to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and complained, Ya Rasulullah, we are your allies, and this is what people have done, and Quraysh helped them against us. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, okay, we'll get Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to guide us on this. And then he had a consultation, and in this consultation, the plan was to go and march straight to Makkah. That was the 8th year after Hijrah. Straight into Makkah. And no one would say this to anyone. This is secret among us, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned. Hatib was one of the greatest of the companions. He was among them. He got very scared that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is now marching with 10,000 of Sahaba as to go to Makkah. Makkans haven't got the ability to survive this. They would start killing local people, and my family is still there in Makkah. And I do not have any other person who could support my family. All the other Sahaba, majority of them have someone who they would, support. So my family is really in open. So Makkans would kill them straight away. So if I do a favor to Makkans only to save my family, that might help. Without thinking deeply, he made this mistake and he disclosed that secret. He planned to disclose that secret. He wrote a letter and gave to a lady who was going to Makkah, said, secretly give it to Abu Sufyan. He was in a Muslim at that point. So this lady set off to go to Makkah. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was told by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through revelation, your secret is going out. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, 3 companions, Sayyidina Ali radiallahu ta'ala, Sayyidina Ammar radiallahu ta'ala, Mirdad, according to some narration, or another narration, Marsad ibn Abil Ghanwi, one of them. So these 3 or 4 companions, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said to Sayyidina Ali, "O Ali, you're leader of these 3 or 4 people. You go in this direction, and at this point you would find, Rawdatu Khakh, you would find this lady with this description. Go search her. She has this letter. Take it back before she reaches Makkah. And you would read there at this point, at this time." He left. They found this lady exactly there, stationed there. Said, "Give us the letter." She said, "I haven't got any letter. What are you talking about?" "Listen, man. Listen, lady. Our Prophet told us, and there's no way he is lying. He gets revelation. If you don't give us straight away, I would expose you. I would not shy away from taking your clothes off to search you. This is how extreme I'm going to get. You've got just next minute to decide. She said, okay, I'm going to give it to you. 1 second, 1 second. She turned around. She had hidden it in her, like, big braid. So she just took it out and gave it to Sayyidina Ali. Go back where you were. She didn't know what was written in there, so it wasn't anything for her. She did it for some money, and that's her job is done. See, she was freed. Sayyidina Hatib ibn Abi Balta'a, the letter, as he sent the letter, it just occurred to him, it just dawned to him, what did I do? I have actually revealed the secret of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and that is haram. I've been like, I spied. I just disclosed the secret. So before anything happened, he came inside the Masjid Nabawi. He took a rope and tied himself with the column of Masjid. And he said, until Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam comes and free me, I would be stuck here. I would not leave this Masjid. I would die here. As such is their attitude. They realize their mistake, and they would never ever do that mistake again. And they repented in such a way. When Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam came to know, they got the letter. He said, where is Hatib? Sayyidina Umar said, Ya Rasulullah, he is munafiq, let me kill him. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, rather he's a believer, obviously. Let me ask him. Oh Hatib, what happened? You were in the Battle of Badr, what happened? So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam's words were, perhaps, oh Umar, Hatib participated in the Battle of Badr, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned the people of Badr have got their Jannah fixed. So he's from the people of Jannah. Don't do that. Anyway, so Hatib said, Ya Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, I did not have any bad intention. It just occurred to me as a slip of emotional connection with my family that they are stuck there, and if I don't support, I found that was the only thing I could do as a favor to Quraysh, to Makkans, and they would save my family. At least my family would be, with this favor, protected. I only did it for my family. There was no malicious ideas to destroy Islamic State or have any. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said you did the right thing. As regards your statement, this statement is definitely right, and I believe that. You did it for that reason. But what's your punishment? I don't know. You need to wait. Since you have been there, you stay in that situation until Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reveals something. Anyway, finally, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala freed him. So that was his, predicament. This is what he went through. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was generous, obviously, but this is how Sahaba were. They would make mistake, but they would repent and they would try to mend it. Anyway, so Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in another narration, he mentioned that if you see people engage in a private conversation, one is not allowed to sneak up or put one's ears to the door to catch what they're saying. It's not allowed. Don't ever do that. Don't pry on someone like this. What if they're talking to each other in public? If some people are physically moved alone, so we are sitting there, two people got up and then they're standing there and talking. Again, this is secret. The minute someone moves away, in fact, there's another hadith which suggests if someone is talking to you and while he's starting talking, he looked around. All he did was, is there someone there? There's no one. Then he says something to you. This is secret. From now on, you can't disclose it to others. You can't go out. He doesn't have to say. If anyone speaks to you in private, this is a secret. If he says, then it's even more of an importance. Someone mentions some private mashwara for advice to you, that's a secret. As a doctor, a patient comes to you, give you the symptom, is a secret. Someone tell me, oh, by the way, I've got this condition. As a friend or family, someone, you have to keep it secret. You can't go out and tell, oh, by the way, he got cancer. You can't do that. It's all haram. It's all disclosing someone's secret. It's a confidentiality. You are bound to. If you're in doubt, ask him. By the way, you told me the other day that you've got this condition. Can I just tell it to someone else? If he say yes, then it's fine. He said no, then no. The privacy is very important. Phone tapping, hacking, all is prying, all is haram. No way you could do that. Not at all. Okay. Letters, looking at someone's letter, opening it and reading it and thinking, oh, I found it there, so I just thought maybe it was saying then read me. Is that what it said to you? Read me. Oh, well, lying there, I didn't know, I just opened it. Why? Can't. It accidentally came to my address, that's why I opened it. No, it says someone else's name. It's not yours. You shouldn't be opening someone's letter. Wife's letter by husband or husband letter by, not at all allowed. Children letter, you can't open the letter. Yes, very small kids who are not of the age of intellectual stability or discernment, that's a different matter. You shouldn't be opening letters of people. Likewise, WhatsApp group and this and that, you found something there, someone's chatting is recorded there, just listen to it. Husband and wife do that a lot. There's certain crazy people in the world corrupting the society, corrupting their household, but also the society through that. Not at all. You shouldn't be listening to your wife's private messages, their text messages, any answer machine, like vice versa. Wives are not supposed to do the same for the husband. Not at all allowed. Haram. This is all jasusi. You can't be nosy. I was just walking past and there was a door open, so I just peed inside. What's happening inside that house? I just went past, it was just open. Even if it's open, you can't sneak in. You can't look inside. Very common. People just walk past and then something. So you're on your screen and I say, hello, hi there, how are you? While he's typing and I'm reading the letter. What are you doing? Don't do that at all. Not at all. Without permission. You have to lower your gaze. It is amana. Don't breach that trust. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, once a Bedouin came and he wanted to speak to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He started looking inside from the door, crack in the door. Keep looking from there. Can I see Rasulullah? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam actually took a very sharp something and started poking from inside. He just didn't hit him. He said, I would have actually aimed at your eye. How dare you look inside that? Haram. Never ever. So just to teach the lesson, he said, the man left and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, if you had stayed, I would have gouged out your eye with that. आँख निकाल लो इसमें. किसी के घर में देखता है, किसी के private room में देखता है. Never allowed. Don't ever do that. Leaks. Someone leaks something and you are just the leaker of that thing subsequently. Searching for all the different leaks on site and forwarding it to other. I found that. Haram. Without verifying anything, you can't do that. Nothing should be leaked out. You can't do that. It's not your own. Yes, the only exception will come to that in a minute. When you know that this is definitely a true message, true something, and it can affect someone's life. Not because you imagine it, but you know for sure that they're planning. I accidentally heard them talking about killing him. They're plotting against him. They're saving someone's life. That is a situation where the exception would be. But again, ask someone. Don't go out and start making it a headliner on your own channel or TV channels. The few exceptions. If you are asked in the court of law to tell some information, then obviously then you have to reveal certain things. And likewise, enemy. Then there's a problem. If someone is your enemy and they're doing something and you know the enemy is there. So spying in that situation would be okay. Protecting your people or your country or your family, then that's okay. Meetings are confidential except 3. Those for the purpose of shedding blood unlawfully, or committing fornication, or acquiring property unjustly. If someone are conspiring like this and you happen to know that, then there's no secret. Then you have to disclose it. Like, saving others from that harm. If you accidentally know. You don't go out unless you've been given the stars by the head of a state or the government or something. That's a different matter. Generally, it is completely not allowed. The exception is for the people who are working in the defense. They know what they're doing. Leave them. They should get the scholars to verify where is the limit for them as well. It's not unlimited for them. They have to be a little bit careful about that. What about your spouse? Husband for wife, wife and for husband. As I mentioned, generally haram. The only situation is if you're suspecting cheating. Your wife is cheating or your husband is cheating. In those situations, you have to have two possibilities. There are two possibilities. Either you have something as a base to substantiate that. There is some evidence suggesting it, not because I'm crazy and I always suspect, no matter what. There's certain people who are completely crazy, they always suspect. They just get flogged if they win the time of Tanaum. They don't deserve any respect. They're crazy people, OCDs, obsessive compulsive. They shouldn't get married in the first place if they can't control themselves. So normally, if you have no evidence for that, it is haram to suspect. If there is some evidence, then you discuss that politely, openly. Don't say, oh, let me just verify it. Put some camera there, some recording here, some artificial intelligence through your children. Son, go and tell me what mom is doing and try to figure it out. Get some working inside the house to go and clarify that. Unbeknown to your wife or to your husband, put a person there, what you call a secret agent of some sort, to identify that. Don't do that. Don't. You can only do that. Just open. This is the suspicion I have based on this. It just happened. This is what happened. What do you think? What is your justification? The wife or the husband, whoever is now the subject of this, charge or criticism, he or she should not feel offended by that. Remember, having some evidence make you, suspect that, or having the suspicion at that point justified. There is some justification for that. Whenever there's justification, the other party has no right to be offended by that. This is completely wrong understanding. So how dare you suspect me? Don't you love me? There's no trust now? No. This is nothing to do with that. If you do something which is clear-cut wrong, and I saw it, I would try to verify. You have to justify that. You should justify that in order to make the relationship nice and good. Again, if there was any good suspicion, as I said, without evidence or haram. Evidence means there's a base for it. You heard someone came to you and said that, oh, by the way, your husband was doing this, I saw him doing this. Or your wife was doing that, I saw her doing this. You say, oh, someone mentioned it. If you know that this is completely fake, that person is completely dumb and silly person who does that, he's not trustworthy in any way. But he's coming from someone who is, man of stature, has got some, substance and credibility, and he is really good. And he says something, then okay, don't worry, I'll verify. Straight to your wife, straight to your husband, say, this is what I heard. What do you say? He said, say, ignore it. So fine. If you said it, I trust. Leave it. No more discussion. You say, oh, but by the way, he gave me this evidence, a letter handwritten by you, signed by you, coming from your email account, coming from your phone. This is what he showed me. What do you think? It's still wrong. Ignore it. Ignore it. Move on. Nothing more than that. If his background generally or her background remained good, generally, this is the first time, ignore it. Okay? Don't pay any attention to what people are saying. Ignore it completely. If there was substantive something and it doesn't settle you and you feel like, yeah, I still ignore it, but can you just clarify that so that it doesn't haunt me ever? Then that lady or that husband should clarify that. If she or he knows that, there's more than a simple suspicion, let me clarify that. So as to make sure that he doesn't dwell on this or she doesn't dwell on that. Otherwise, they will continue to think negative. What happened? People do not do it like this. They do not talk about that. They do not discuss. Rather, they said, okay, let me think. Let me ponder over it. Let me give some more time. Let me gather all the evidences against that person, against my spouse. Keep building that up. And talk to the most silliest of your friend, who happens to be your best friend, because you are silly, so you have silly friend, obviously. But he's so dumb that he can only make things worse. And he will say, see, I know these women are always like that. Or the husbands are always like that. They're always interested in some other women. Keep tapping the phone. Keep the location. What you call? Yeah. Know the location. Find my, find my friend and different. And after weeks and months, They've gathered few similar evidence, they think evidence, which has no value in the eyes of court, but they feel that that's enough for me to suspect. And they will just go out of their way and then start fighting, like literally coming with a ton of bricks, discussing in the most rude way. See, I know that this is what you've been cheating me on. I have got the evidence. I've got the evidence. None of them has any substance. And she feels, I never did anything wrong. What is he talking about? And in your eyes, she's just so criminal now that she is even telling lies now. She is covering up. She's just so clever. She must be talking. And you're fixated with that idea, and it only breaks the house, the family. The home is now gone. So don't do that. Discuss politely if you think that you have ability to do so. If you think that you can't, then get someone else, the sensible people. Get some help from the family member who's sensible, maybe. Ideally, the one who she trusts the most, or he trusts the most, whoever is the suspected person. Because you go and ask someone who you trust, she doesn't trust, or he doesn't trust, then what would happen? She's not going to accept that. See, he will say, oh, because this is your part. Involve someone sensible from the opposite part, from that part, who could see the light. So if it's wife, the wife's father, I hope it's sensible. आजकल आ नहीं रहे, लेकिन फिर भी हो सकता है. Girl's husband's father, older brother, someone who's mature, sensible. If that doesn't work, someone in the community, imam, scholar of some sort, who can then, they both accept as imam, they both agree that he's good. So that person would be able to help you in this situation, the counsel. If you think that it's not going to work, you tried, everyone tried, part ways. Because with that suspicion, you can't live together. You say, oh, now I want to undo it for the sake of children. No, you won't. It won't work. If you could, you would have done that in the first place. But you never did it in the right way anyway. It's only going to make things worse. There's no point. You can't live with a person who you suspect of cheating or suspect of doing something wrong. And you think there's some basis, and you never contacted someone sensible to advise you on that, which means that you're already fixated. So there's no point living with that person. Because sooner or later, it is only going to make things worse. It will only increase your suspicion. Shaitan is not going to sit down and let things happen very easily, smoothly for you. Not at all. He wants to break this family, and you've already decided that. But there are ways, if you really wanted to improve your situation sensibly and sincerely, then yes, there are ways. But if you got someone sensible, then inshallah. But even then, you don't go out of your way to spy and then try to find out what's happening. Because either whatever you thought was right and you proved right, then what would you do? You divorce. Or you take separation. If the husband is cheating, then what? What would you do? If that's on the card, go ahead. Why do you have to prove it? Just go ahead and leave her or him. Why do you have to go and try and then you say, you know what? I have doubts, and with that doubt, I can't live. Let's part on this before it becomes more messy. If you're that fixated. If you are wrong and you've proven wrong, then what? You've already caused the damage. Now he would find out, or she would find out, what different measures you have done to prove yourself wrong. So your recording are all wrong, all those emails are wrong, then you were tapping in, nothing worked. So what happened? You just went to the court, you went to Sharia court, you exposed it to all the world, you spoke to so many different people on both sides, and though all of them are now aware of this situation. So where do you stand? You have nothing to stand on. You cause problem to yourself, your family. If you did it earlier, so the end result was separation anyway. So what's the point of, if you do not have that much of honesty, sincerity, courtesy, then there's no point living together. So it doesn't work. What about children? Small children, you do not suspect them. You just, because children are children. They do not make those silly mistakes because they are cunning or corrupt. They just get that, it's a bit of fun. They feel it's, enjoyable of some sort. So you have to keep an eye on them. As long as they're not mature enough, about 14, 15, maybe 16, 17. Up to that age, when they are mature enough, then inshallah, leave them alone. Again, same rule would apply. Don't try. Don't try find out what are they watching on their phone. Don't see what they're doing in the toilet. You know they're doing whatever they're doing. You all know it. You don't need to go and prove it and show it to them. What's the point? You give them general advice, general counsel. Don't sneak. But keep the measures and precautions for the children in the house. For example, they should not have a phone anyway, default. If they had the phone, that should not be smartphone. If they have the smartphone, that should be all nicely covered. Means they can't go. There's no, they just pay as you go phone. That's it. You can only watch it between the time you say. It would be from say 4 to 6 or 5 to 7 or 8 or whatever time, couple of hours, that's it. The rest of the time, it's been switched off, like internet. For them, they can't access it. Or just take the phone, put it in your room. Don't let them have this luxury of exposing themselves to the world, because this is going to corrupt them. It's like a small child, you let them touch anything in the house, they're going to cause corruption for themselves, problem for themselves, without knowing. So limit. So there's no privacy for children, by the way. There shouldn't be any privacy. What their privacy is when they go to toilet. That's their privacy. And ideally, they should know that they cannot stay in toilet for long enough. There should be time for that, ideally. Not that I'm going to the toilet for unlimited. No, not at all. If you really need to take a shower, you just, have your lower garments on and take shower. Door open. If you're in the toilet, yes, since you can't cover yourself with that, go there for that minute. 5 minutes maximum, kids. It shouldn't need any longer than that. Rest of the time, door is closed but open in a sense that if parents want to come in, they can come. So they should know that they can come in anytime. That way, they would never be able to, the shaitan would not be able to corrupt them. Because they would know that, oh, you know what, dad is going to come or mom is going to come anytime. So don't let them open. Keep it open for them. Likewise, the computer that they need to work on should be open in your living room, in your bedroom. Wait, the door is, so this computer is facing the door. So and they're facing the computer. So their back is towards you. They would never know who's coming. They can't change the screen. Keep it open. And then the reason I'm doing it, to make sure the shaitan doesn't corrupt you, even in a sneaky way. So he knows it's all open. For example, if you're all having your computer here and your phone here, we say, okay, let's open your phone and we read the surah. No amount of distraction can distract you, because I've been observed. We don't commit sins when we are observed. So they should know. Tell them. And they would say, oh, Dad, don't you trust us? No, we don't. Simple as that. But it does not mean that we do not trust you. If you ask me, do I trust you? I will say, no. You say, oh, you don't trust me? I will say, no, I do not trust you, because you haven't done anything to break that trust. You understand that? But you haven't done anything to make you trust you. What did you do? Have I given you £1,000 to go and buy me something and you just conned me on that? No. So I do not trust you, because you've never done a good thing with me. But you have never conned me anyway, so I do not trust you. So don't be on the back foot. Don't feel, oh, my children is saying that I don't trust him. No, yes, I do not. Because I have not dealt with you. Yes, I do trust you as a good boy. When you go to school, or good girl, you go to school, you are good, you just do whatever. The teachers are happy with you, I trust you for that. When I give you food, you just eat nicely, mashallah, you're happy. When you go to toilet, you clean yourself nicely. I do trust you because you know how to wash your bum. You do it properly. I trust you on that. I know that you do all those things very nicely. What you mean by trust is that, do I trust you that you would not be swerved away from the right track by shaitan? Obviously not. I do not trust myself on that. Why would I trust you? I do not trust myself about shaitan, and shaitan can misguide me. Yes, it can. Do I trust myself? Not at all. Can I trust myself being private with a mobile phone? Not at all. I do not trust myself for being in private. When I'm 51-year-old with my white beard, I do not trust you. And I do not trust any of you. None of you. No matter what you do, I would never trust you. That's my given. So you don't need to work for that. You would never be trusted for that. So now you know, if I don't trust you, it does not matter. I don't trust myself. Why would I trust you? What have you done to prove that I should trust you? What is there? What is there? As father, as son, as children? No, we don't need to. So don't buy this crazy thing of trust. It's crazy. No one born with the trust. We are born with love. We love you. We care for you. That's the bond we have as father, as teacher, as mentor. So never say to that, oh, because you don't trust me, that's why you don't get me a mobile phone. No, we don't. No, there's no such thing as privacy. Your privacy is only when you need to poo or pee. That's it. That's your privacy until you become 15 and above, maybe. Then you be a bit more mature. And that's independent to every individual. You have to prove that you're mature enough to be trusted. You have to be of the age, and you may be trusted once to go on your own, spend 3-4 weeks on your own in Pakistan. But that's a trust trying. It's not a trust. We don't trust you for that. We're just letting you try that and prove that you are trustworthy. One occasion. That's not at all a given. You understand that? So when we say, oh, you go and do this, we don't trust you. We shouldn't trust you. Teachers, parents should not trust their children. As I said, that we shouldn't trust ourselves. What we trust you for is that you are a nice person. We trust you. We love you for that. We know you are the best person we can have. That's what Allah has given you as a gift. We know that you're the best student that we can have. That's what Allah has given us responsibility to teach you. That's given. And to reciprocate that love, we would do anything out of our way. Whatever needed to be done. To protect you, we would kill ourselves. We would rather lay our lives to save you, to protect you, to provide for you, food, shelter, whatever you need. For your well-being, we do everything. But trust, we only trust Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We do not trust anyone. We can't trust anyone. Maybe we can trust Shaitan as well. We trust Shaitan that he's going to misguide us. That's the only given thing, that he would always misguide us. So that's one trust that we can have, like 100%. Nothing that he would do against us. So that's something that we can have trust in. So you can imagine that we can trust Shaitan, but not our children. Yes, because we can't trust ourselves. Do you understand that? So never ever come up with this idea. It's only Shaitan, a devilish idea. I think, oh, you don't trust me. No, we don't. And we don't feel shy about it. But we love you so much. We care for you. We are there as your father, teacher, mother, parents, whatever. आ रही है समझ में कि नहीं? अकल शरीफ में उतर रही है कि नहीं? इससे कभी upset नहीं होना चाहिए. Don't get upset about that. Where does it say that everyone should be trusting everyone? Yes. When you say something, the trust is this. The trust that we have for you is this. I have a limited trust, which is this. When you come and say, Ustad, I didn't do it, I would trust you. Because I know that you would not lie to me. Because that's the default. Children do not lie. As a father, when you come to me and say, Dad, I didn't do that, I would trust you. I would trust you because I know that you don't lie. That's the given thing. As a believer, as a child, The children do not lie by default. Even if I've seen something contrary to that in the first few occasions, unless you prove yourself a liar by repeatedly lying and lying and lying, and then you prove that you're a liar, I will continue to trust you. That is why as I mentioned, there's been no situation that anyone ever asked me in this madrasa, so I want a day off because I've got this important thing to do. And I said, no, you can't. I don't think that I've ever said, you said, I've got my exam. You say yes, because I trust you. You say, I feel unwell. Okay, I don't mind. But I still trust you. Even if someone come back to, oh, by the way, he was okay. And it happened a few occasions. The father or the family or someone else told me, or the friend told me, oh, I saw him doing this. Even then, I don't care. I don't take your word against him because I trust him. So for me, the trust is when my son says so, my daughter says so, my student says something, I just trust it. That's given. I would not question it. Unless they're obviously blatantly lying, and I know they're saying this is white and it's black actually. So that's a different matter. I would just say, maybe just wake up. You are under the effect of this infection, maybe. You understand that? So your trust is that we love you, we care for you. That's our trust. And you would not lie to us. That's our trust. You would not break the promise to your ability. Obviously, you make mistakes, silly mistakes sometimes. So that's why we have to monitor you with regards to, could you go wrong on that track? Yes. It's like your small kid who started just started doing the bicycling. So he's on the cycle and he's doing that. What would you do? You let him try it, but do you trust him that he could drive? Let him, put him straight onto motorway. Go and do on your own. On the motorway, in the first ever ride? No, not at all. You have to prove that you can do that. It will take weeks, maybe, fine. However long, it's up to you. You are the one guiding me on this with your action to develop that trust. Yeah, we can trust you for certain tasks. That's something we can do. For example, I ask you, or go and put all the shoes in order outside. And I saw you doing it very nicely. The next time, yes, third time, then the next time I wouldn't even check because I know you can do it properly. That's a possibility. I would task you with something else and you did it properly. After 2-3 times, I would trust you for that. Certain teachers teaching there, I trust them. I don't need to check what they're doing. Initially, I wouldn't even let them teach. Ask them how many months and years they had to spend with me before I allowed them to teach. They couldn't even teach. And half of you even can't teach now. We don't put you as a teacher. I don't trust you. I know that you know a lot, but I don't trust you as a teacher. You can't teach. You have to be of a certain level before you're allowed, especially teaching the big books. No disrespect, but it doesn't come naturally. People are not born with trust. You understand that? I hope I clarified that, inshallah. So yeah, so the many times the children would say that, don't buy that. But have a discussion. The problem with parents is they unnecessarily go and pry on the kids. Don't do that. Don't go and find out what they're doing. If they're pubertal and they've come to the age, don't find out what they're doing in toilet. Don't do that. Don't stand by the window. Don't hear from what's happening. Where is the water running? Why is that water running in that direction? Don't worry about that. Give them general advice, because you can't police people in their private. You only do that to help them. But if they decided to be wrong, that's their choice. If someone decides to stumble, you can't stop them. That's their choice. That's why the kids who do not come to madrasa after they've completed their life, if they're 14, 15, those kids, they don't come. I don't go ask them why they didn't come. I don't ask. Just gently say, oh, it's free, just turn up. Gently. Because they have to do that. It's their requirement, it's their need. They have to come to this level. And I just trust them. Even if they come after a year, I don't tell them off. So let them do. So it's them who need to take that responsibility and inshallah and behave. So the summary is that It is impermissible. There are very few exceptions. You try and not do that at all because it doesn't help. Try avoid all of those suspicions. Monitor your children in the best way, and inshallah, that life would be a lot easier. May Allah give us tawfiq. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين.